I am so going to take you guys on a ride for this one, man. Has anybody noticed the world changing? Of course, the world's always changing, but isn't it getting a little intense? There's like a war in every direction, and not just in the Middle East. Here at home with like politics or the battle between gender equality and everything else. Really, the war here in America is a quiet one. It's more between each other, if you've noticed. This is not what that video is going to be about. A lot of us have become hermits, wanting to just be alone, you know? The world has become touchy. I see it everywhere traveling around. Every city I've gone to, you know, you can see the fear in people's faces, especially in the cities, especially in LA. But there is a reason for this, a very deep reason. There is a sort of polarization happening on Earth right now. And if you're feeling this too and stumbled upon this, there must be a reason for it, especially if the fact that you're still watching. Spirituality and this trend of peace and love and light is only just a tip of something that's happening underneath, but on a much more deeper level. Well, peace, love, and light may come to the forefront of the minds, but is only a tipping rise of a deeper emerging consciousness we have yet to fully explore, because it gets deeper. It gets a lot deeper. Things right now are becoming seemingly more divided. There is a polarization happening, and when a new consciousness emerges, an old one too prevails, just as strong. They both become obvious. But this is probably why so many of us seek to be alone or want to be alone. We are going through a sort of polarization, and we know it. It's like a blending of oil and water. You can start to see how they are separating. They are both just as equally apparent. That's what's happening. But we need to realize two things. There are two urges within us. On one hand, we move past our fears, and with our intuitions would move us in a positive direction, the original goal of unity. And the other, we would fall prey to the opposite urge, to protect ourselves from the fear of seemingly separation, forgetting the original goal of unity, and at times losing sight of our own wisdom and purpose that we originally came with, falling into angst and separation and abandonment. And this fear would lead us into a frightened self-protection, which is what's happening in the Middle East and what has been happening within our own selves and each other. I mean, the real war, and the only war that has ever been fought, no matter the names, has always been of self, and only self, because that's all there is. Our own fear of loneliness in a world that only seems lonely, because we forgot the truth coming into this body. And so the contrast becomes greater, and thus the polarization. We are becoming aware of both, so that means both are becoming more obvious and more pronounced and more intense. But what is outside must also mean that the same thing is happening on the inside. There's work to do, and we know it. Maybe this explains the desire to be alone. Maybe this explains the whole sex recession and lack of intimacy. We know we're not ready for something so sacred because we're slowly realizing we're sacred. And there's still more to be realized. Seeing people on TikTok and social media, they know that there's something wrong, and yet they're still clowning themselves distracted. It's crazy. But there is a way to overcome this polarization. There's a book I'm reading. It's called The 10th Insight. It says that the life review that we go through when we die shows us the missed opportunities that we had to align ourselves with that original vision, the original birth vision before we came into these bodies. The parents we had, people who've crossed our path, no matter if seemingly harmful or helpful, were placed there at the time of our birth vision. Maybe that's why certain people that had near-death experiences lived to tell it. They were placed here to get us to remember. But instead of waiting until the end to die, we have a chance now, while we're alive, to follow that birth vision, we have a chance to review our lives while we're still alive, to follow our vision and remember the purpose of why we came. Maybe that's why so many of us follow these spiritual teachers and gurus and spiritual influencers on social media. We are trying really hard to remember. It's like a subconscious itch, except you can't scratch its origin. You're almost there, but you just can't get it. But the real origin is our own selves. It's our intuitions, our hunches, our synchronicities that guide us back to that birth vision, the people we run into. This is why it's important for us to stay relaxed and work to release our traumas and our dramas. For example, if we lock eyes with someone, there's a reason for it. We can't live in fear and shy away from it. We must talk to them. We have to, because whatever they have to share or whatever we have to share to them will lead us back to our original vision, whatever that is, and will help us further realize our purpose here and their purpose. Parents I had were placed in my life, were there to show me something, even if not directly. Perhaps this is also why me and you are running into each other's path. We need something from each other to further align us with that original vision, where we really want to be, the most satisfying. Something is happening here. I have a feeling I'll be creating more videos based on the 9 insights from this book, because I don't think it's just a book. There's something to it. The first insight is about reaching critical mass, recognizing we live in a world of energy and synchronicities. I can't tell you more right now, but I will soon. Until then, be well.